fascinating because it feels like, I don't know, it's almost within grasp. I don't know, because it's just a character study, and it's not about like filling a plot or, you know, you just live this person's life for an hour or two or whatever it is.
Like we have this whole thing in, I suppose, the industry at the moment and society generally of like strong women and trying to sort of strive for strong women. And actually I think she's an example of like just a very real woman and someone that's actually can be so interesting and so compelling to watch. It's just someone really traveling through life and suffering in many ways and not necessarily being strong in inverted commas.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, what is strength? It's like survival is strength. And this idea that, you know, strength is just power is just so, I mean, it's another lie that we're all being fed. We're so multifaceted. I mean, in times of my life, I've been super weak and I've made super bad decisions. And you know, you're never, I don't know, you're never just one thing, you know, and you have to grow into moments. And even if you've grown into a good place in your life, something may happen the next day and next thing you're on the floor again and you don't know, you know. I
think it's that thing of like almost being, I'm sure we've all been in that position of being so like emotionally exhausted from something, or that's what it felt like to me, that she was so emotionally exhausted and done that she almost had no option and no choice and just went and just did it. And I think that is so relatable, and I think that's why that film has survived. And it's seen as such a cult classic. It's seen as such a...
But I think as well, like, I think nowadays I do this about her, like, you know, whenever I knew we were going to have this conversation, I started thinking about it again. And now you kind of think, whoa, maybe she had postpartum depression and maybe that's what it is. Yeah. And all of these things. But I think the language didn't really exist then. Like, that's the thing. Women then didn't have the luxury of these things. And so they just existed.
So, okay.
So that's my film recommendation.
That's your film. So this is what I want. So I want people listening and women listening, but everyone. This isn't about not wanting to listen to guys or not liking the guys. It's about giving space for some women and being able to like give some more heroes to people to go out and have a look and not always look to the guys for what's really cool. And I think this is such a phenomenal start because it is a focus on this really real woman, and I think everyone should watch it. Men and women alike.
I agree. Watch it.
Watch it. Okay, so next we've got the book. And you were worried about the book.
Well, when you were sort of like, well, what do you recommend and what had an impact or what influenced you? I don't know. I always think of those things. I'm like, oh, what influenced me when I was a teenager? I don't know why I always go to like
being a teenager.
That point as if I came out of teenagedom as a formed person with all of my influences intact. No, but so I for some reason I went to like my favorite book of that time. I haven't read it in years, so I was like, I got really panicky then. I said to you, I think I want to change my mind.
And I was like, well, why? Why do you want to change your mind? And you were like, well, because it's just really fucked up.
Yeah. Well, because again, this book is quite dark and well, it's not. I mean, it's, you know, I think most people have read this when they were a teenager. It was Wuthering Heights.
Yeah, sorry, it's Wuthering Heights. Yes.
It
was on the school curriculum at one point, I think.
It was, but it was a book that I had read probably about 3 or 4 times, and then we went to do in Ireland we do a leaving cert.
Oh, what?
That's our final exams
right.
At the end of secondary school, and so it was on my English school curriculum then. And then I was like, oh, they're going to ruin this book for me, and it didn't. And I think that that's a real testament to
absolutely,
you know, a book that you can actually sit and study it and actually come away and still love it.
I think I came away from school traumatised by Shakespeare, and it took
really
years. Yeah, it took years to be interested in it again. Because English, like you'd sit in English and just drone through. I mean, it was like King
I actually
Henry.
had a good English teacher. She was mean and horrible to me, but she was actually really good.
I had a good English teacher in that she was really nice to me, but I would leave class at least 3 times during every class. Like class would probably be like an hour and 10 minutes, and I'd be like, really need the toilet, and she was like, just go. Just go. Because I was so bored. I was just bored of it, which is weird that I've ended up doing this career.
I say that was one of the subjects I actually liked.
Was English.
Yeah.
So you studied Wuthering Heights. And
Yeah.
did you like pull it apart? Do you remember doing that?
Oh yeah, I remember. And then it was funny because I was thinking about, say, I remember writing essays about it and everything. And then one of the things that we used to study so much about it, like some of the stuff that we used to be told, I remember this being this big nature versus nurture thing with Heathcliff.
Okay.
And when I think about it now, I'm like, that's really fucked up that we were taught that.
Why?
Because I think we were sort of being told that because he was this orphaned youth, that his nature was dark, and that all of the good nurture of the
family that he
the
kind of came
family,
into, and his marriage and things,
that wasn't enough to save him. And I think that's really, really fucked up.
Yeah, and especially if that's the opinion that's been
By the way,
given to...
I'm allowed to curse on this,
Oh,
right?
we've done that already. I've totally given up. No, I think I started anyway. Sorry, Mum. Sorry, Dad.
Sorry. They met me at the rugby.
Yeah,
anyway. They've already heard me cursing
I'm the creative
before.
one of the family. They've all had to accept it. My dad asked me if I was a hippie now, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
It's not the 60s.
No, it's not. That's exactly it, Dad. It's not the 60s, but thank you.
I don't know what it's. She's a hipster.
That's
she's
even
not,
worse.
Kind of are. Let's be real.
No, okay, thanks. I'll take it as a compliment at the moment. So Wuthering Heights, I did a play of it probably about 5 years ago, but it was a sort of reimagined version.
Oh,
and I
how
played,
did they reimagine it? Who were you?
I was Kathy.
Were you on a wire and did you fly by a window at any point?
Oh my God, that like it's not even that far off. It's not even that far off. We had like a whole structure that there was like 16 of us in the whole thing, and everyone played all the parts and came in and out, and you stood behind a huge like almost like plastic curtain, and like we had torches and we would like torch the lights and all this sort of thing.
God, amazing.
It was actually quite amazing. It was on the West End. Thanks very much.
Thanks very much. It was pretty amazing.
It was. I can't say that I was like massively drawn to Wuthering Heights as when I was in school either, but when I started having a look at it for this, I was like, it's so dark. It's actually a fascinating book, and the whole like Heathcliff coming and having nightmares and dreams and everything in this castle, like is sort of a bit of a horror story, really.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess it's that kind of gothic literature, right? It's about this overpowering love and what happens, I think, when love gets perverted. You know, the ways that the very best of us can turn us into absolute monsters. I think that's one of the things that I found.
To do with love.
Yeah, well, because it's so much about, you know, he fell in love with Catherine, and then because he felt that she rejected him, even though, you know, in the plot, he kind of overhears her saying that she could never marry him because he's below her station. And what he didn't hear was that she was saying, but, you know, I will never love Edgar the way that I love Heathcliff, and he will always be the person, you know, that has my heart. And because he didn't hear that, he sort of went off and he became this man of wealth and man of fortune. And then he came back just so hell-bent on revenge and sort of showing everybody.
Obviously, it survived this, like, however many years it's been, and it's this huge classic. Why do you think it has sat with you? Like, why do you think that was like something that popped into your head?
Because I guess, like, as a teenager, it's perfect for teenage angst. You know, it's perfect for that.
That's quite fascinating, because if you've gone back, because I only asked you to think about the book, film and album that had like influenced your lives. I didn't say that it had to be something.
I know. I think I misread.
No. But I think it's interesting that you've like gone. Back to something that stayed.
Maybe I'm just eternally a 16-year-old. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I grew up in quite a small, not a lot going on place. And I guess in some ways I always was like, I need to get out of here and I need to feel the world and I need to live a life. And I think I felt very suffocated where I grew up, and that's nothing against where I grew up. I love where I grew up now, but I think as a teenager, that's how I felt. Like, I felt very suffocated. And I think like books like that had because they were so I don't know, dramatic, and I was probably a complete drama queen.
Yeah.
You know, it just